If you're over 50, there's a quiet moment every night that may be doing more for your heart than your morning walk, your vitamins, or even your medication schedule. It happens just before you sleep, and most people completely overlook it. Heart health doesn't suddenly decline overnight. It slowly shifts through small habits, subtle signals, and routines we repeat without thinking. Many adults believe heart protection is all about intense workouts or strict diets, but for seniors, especially after 60, the most powerful changes often happen during moments of rest. That's when your nervous system resets, blood pressure stabilizes, and your heart decides whether to recover or struggle through the night. Studies now show that what you do in the final 30 to 60 minutes before sleep can directly influence heart rhythm, inflammation, and even your risk of nighttime cardiac stress. And yet, most people unknowingly do the exact opposite of what their heart needs. The good news? You don't need expensive equipment, extreme exercise, or complicated routines. Just one intentional habit before bed can support circulation, calm your heart, and protect your long-term health, especially after 50. Before we begin, let us know in the comments. How old are you, and where are you watching from today? Also, do you currently have a bedtime routine, or do your nights feel rushed and unpredictable? The heart does not truly rest at night. In fact, for adults over 50, nighttime is one of the most critical windows for heart recovery, and also one of the most vulnerable. As the body prepares for sleep, your nervous system is supposed to shift from a fight or flight state into a calmer, restorative mode. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure gently drops. Blood vessels relax. This natural process is called nocturnal dipping, and it plays a major role in protecting your heart muscle from long-term strain. But for many older adults, that dip never fully happens. Stress, late-night screen exposure, irregular sleep schedules, silent inflammation, and even subtle breathing disruptions can keep the heart working harder than it should throughout the night. When that happens repeatedly, night after night, the heart doesn't get its recovery window. Over time, this increases the risk of high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and morning fatigue that seems to appear for no clear reason. This is why cardiologists pay close attention to what happens before bedtime. The body is highly responsive in that window. A calming signal at the right time can lower stress hormones like cortisol, stabilize heart rhythm, and improve oxygen flow. A disruptive habit can do the exact opposite. Many people assume heart problems announce themselves loudly, with pain or dramatic symptoms. In reality, they often whisper first. Subtle signs like waking up tired, a racing mind at night, shallow breathing, or feeling wired but exhausted are often early indicators that the heart isn't fully recovering while you sleep. One respected sleep expert, Dr. Matthew Walker, once said, "Sleep is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity." That truth becomes even more powerful after 50, when the body's ability to self-regulate begins to slow. Without intentional support, the heart works harder just to maintain balance. This is why the moments before bed matter so much. They act like a switch, either guiding your body toward repair or quietly keeping it in a state of alert. Research shows that calming the nervous system before sleep can improve heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular resilience. Higher variability means your heart can adapt more easily to stress. Lower variability often signals strain. What's encouraging is this: you don't need intense exercise, complicated routines, or medication changes to influence this process. The most effective adjustments are often simple, gentle, and accessible, especially for older adults. The body responds quickly when it finally receives the right signals. As this unfolds, you may begin to notice deeper sleep, steadier energy during the day, and a sense that your body is finally working with you instead of against you. These are not small changes. They are early signs of protection. And it all begins with one intentional step before bed. As the body moves past 50, the heart doesn't suddenly weaken, but it does begin to work under different conditions. What once felt effortless now requires more coordination, more recovery, and more support. This change is subtle, which is why so many people miss it. They assume fatigue, shallow sleep, or occasional chest tightness are just normal aging. In reality, these are often signals of physiological shifts happening beneath the surface. One of the biggest changes involves the blood vessels themselves. Over time, arteries naturally lose some elasticity. When you were younger, they expanded and contracted easily, allowing blood to flow smoothly with each heartbeat. As elasticity decreases, the heart must pump harder to move blood through a stiffer system. This is one reason blood pressure tends to rise with age, even in people who appear otherwise healthy. Another key factor is the autonomic nervous system, which controls heart rate, breathing, and stress response without conscious effort. With age, this system becomes less flexible. The calming branch, the parasympathetic system, doesn't activate as easily, especially at night. This makes it harder for the heart to fully settle into its restorative rhythm during sleep. Dr. Luigi Ferrucci, a leading geriatric researcher, once explained, "Aging is not the result of one system failing, but many systems slowly losing their ability to communicate efficiently." That breakdown in communication is especially important when it comes to heart health. When the brain, lungs, and heart fall out of sync, even slightly, the body stays in a low-grade stress state. Sleep quality plays a central role here. Deep sleep is when blood pressure naturally drops, inflammation decreases, and tissues repair themselves. But many adults over 50 experience fragmented sleep without realizing it. Light sleep dominates, breathing becomes shallow, and the heart never fully powers down. Over time, this increases cardiovascular strain and reduces resilience. Hormonal shifts also contribute. Lower levels of melatonin and growth hormone, both critical for nighttime recovery, mean the heart has fewer tools to repair daily wear. Meanwhile, elevated evening cortisol keeps the body alert when it should be unwinding. This combination creates a quiet but persistent burden on the cardiovascular system. What makes this especially concerning is that these changes often occur without pain or obvious warning signs. People may feel off rather than unwell. They might notice they wake up tired, feel unsteady in the morning, or need longer to recover from small exertions. These are not signs of weakness, they are messages from the body asking for support. The encouraging part is that the heart remains highly responsive, even later in life. Studies show that improving nighttime relaxation and breathing patterns can restore healthier heart rate variability in older adults within weeks. The heart doesn't require intensity, it needs consistency and calm signals at the right time. This is where the evening hours become powerful. When you intentionally prepare your body for rest, you give your heart permission to recover. You reduce strain, support circulation, and create the internal environment your body needs to repair itself naturally. In the next section, we'll explore the single most effective thing you can do before bed to protect your heart, something simple, gentle, and supported by cardiologists as one of the most overlooked tools for healthy aging. The most powerful thing you can do before bed to protect your heart is slow, intentional breathing that signals safety to your nervous system. It may sound almost too simple, but this single habit has one of the strongest scientific links to improved heart rhythm, lower blood pressure, and better nighttime recovery, especially after 50. As the evening progresses, your body is meant to shift into a parasympathetic state, often called rest and repair. This is the mode where your heart rate slows, your blood vessels relax, and inflammation begins to drop. The problem is that modern life keeps many adults stuck in low-level stress right up until sleep. Television noise, late meals, scrolling on phones, or even unresolved thoughts from the day can keep the nervous system alert long after the body lies down. Slow breathing acts like a biological reset button. When you slow your breath, especially extending the exhale, you directly stimulate the vagus nerve. This nerve plays a central role in regulating heart rhythm and calming the cardiovascular system. Research published in cardiology journals has shown that slow breathing can significantly improve heart rate variability, a key indicator of heart resilience and longevity. Higher variability means your heart can adapt smoothly to stress rather than becoming rigid under pressure. A cardiologist from Johns Hopkins once summarized it clearly: the heart listens closely to the breath. When breathing slows, the heart receives a signal of safety. That signal is exactly what many older hearts are missing at night. The most effective method is surprisingly simple. About 10 to 15 minutes before bed, sit or lie down comfortably. Inhale gently through your nose for about 4 seconds. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. The extended exhale is critical. It tells your nervous system that it's safe to relax. You don't need to force deep breaths. Gentle, controlled breathing is far more effective than exaggerated inhales. As you breathe, place one hand over your chest and one over your abdomen. You want to feel the lower hand rise more than the upper one. This indicates diaphragmatic breathing, which maximizes oxygen exchange and calms the heart. If your mind wanders, that's normal. Simply return your attention to the rhythm of your breath without judgment. Many people notice a subtle warmth in the chest or a sense of heaviness in the limbs. These are signs that the parasympathetic system is activating. Over time, this practice can reduce nighttime heart strain, lower resting blood pressure, and improve sleep depth. There are common mistakes to avoid. One is forcing the breath too deeply, which can create tension instead of relaxation. Another is doing this while distracted by bright screens or stressful thoughts. This is a quiet ritual, not a task to rush through. Consistency matters far more than perfection. For those with limited mobility or discomfort lying flat, this can be done seated in a chair with feet flat on the floor. The heart responds to the breathing pattern, not the posture. Even 5 minutes can make a measurable difference, especially when practiced nightly. What makes this habit so powerful is that it restores communication between the heart and the brain. Over time, your body learns that nighttime is safe again. Sleep becomes deeper. Morning heart rate steadies. Energy improves. And the heart no longer has to fight through the night. This gentle practice doesn't replace medical care, but it enhances everything else you do for your health. It supports your medications, your movement, and your nutrition by creating the internal conditions your body needs to heal. Next, we'll explore supportive habits that strengthen these effects and help your heart stay resilient night after night. Supportive habits are what turn a single good practice into long-term protection for your heart. Think of them as quiet reinforcements, small, consistent actions that help your body stay in balance long after you turn off the light. When done together, they reduce strain on the heart, improve circulation, and make your nightly breathing practice far more effective. One of the most powerful yet overlooked habits is evening light management. As the sun goes down, your brain expects darkness. Bright lights, especially from TVs, phones, and tablets, suppress melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep and cardiovascular recovery. When melatonin stays low, blood pressure often remains elevated through the night. Dimming lights an hour before bed and avoiding screens for at least 30 minutes can significantly improve heart rate stability. This isn't about perfection, it's about signaling safety to your nervous system. Another supportive habit is gentle post-dinner movement. This does not mean exercise. A slow 5 to 10 minute walk around your home or a few minutes of light stretching helps regulate blood sugar and prevents blood from pooling in the lower body. When blood sugar spikes at night, the heart works harder to compensate. Gentle movement smooths this process and supports smoother circulation before sleep. Nutrition timing also matters more than most people realize. Eating large or heavy meals late in the evening diverts blood flow to digestion, forcing the heart to work harder when it should be winding down. Keeping dinner lighter and finishing it at least 2 to 3 hours before bed allows your cardiovascular system to relax. A small, protein-rich snack, if needed, can stabilize blood sugar without overwhelming digestion. Hydration plays a role as well. Dehydration thickens the blood slightly, increasing cardiac workload. At the same time, excessive fluids right before bed can disrupt sleep. The goal is balance. Hydrate steadily throughout the day and taper off in the evening. This supports circulation without causing nighttime awakenings. A respected geriatric cardiologist, Dr. Jerome Flegg, once stated, "The aging heart responds best to consistency, not intensity." That insight is critical. These habits are not about pushing the body harder. They're about creating conditions where the heart can function efficiently without stress. Emotional regulation is another often missed factor. Lingering worry or unresolved tension activates stress hormones that elevate heart rate long after the body lies down. Simple grounding techniques, like writing down tomorrow's worries or practicing gratitude, can calm the mind and reduce nighttime cardiac load. Even 2 minutes of mental unloading can shift your physiology toward rest. Temperature also matters. A slightly cooler sleeping environment helps lower core body temperature, which naturally supports deeper sleep and steadier heart rhythms. Heavy bedding, overheated rooms, or restrictive sleepwear can interfere with this natural cooling process. What's important to understand is that none of these habits need to be perfect. The heart responds to trends, not isolated moments. When these supportive actions are repeated consistently, they create a predictable rhythm your body learns to trust. Over time, many people notice fewer nighttime awakenings, calmer mornings, and more stable energy throughout the day. These are signs your heart is no longer working overtime in silence. Next, we'll talk about when these efforts may not be enough, and how to recognize the signs that your heart may need professional attention before small issues become bigger ones. Even with the best nightly habits, there are moments when the body signals that it needs more support. Understanding these signals is not about fear, it's about awareness. The earlier you recognize when something feels off, the easier it is to protect your heart and preserve your independence. One of the most important signs to watch for is persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Feeling tired occasionally is normal, but waking up exhausted day after day can indicate that your heart isn't fully recovering overnight. This often happens when circulation or oxygen delivery is compromised during sleep, even subtly. Another signal is shortness of breath during routine activities. If walking across a room, climbing a few steps, or getting dressed leaves you unusually winded, your heart may be struggling to meet your body's demands. This isn't something to ignore, especially if it's new or worsening. Pay attention to changes in sleep patterns as well. Waking suddenly with a racing heart, feeling pressure in the chest at night, or needing multiple pillows to breathe comfortably can all indicate that the heart is under strain. These symptoms don't always appear dramatic, but they are meaningful. Swelling in the ankles, feet, or lower legs is another important clue. This can signal fluid retention, which sometimes reflects reduced heart efficiency. It may appear mild at first, often dismissed as normal aging, but persistent swelling deserves professional attention. A cardiologist from the Cleveland Clinic once emphasized, "The heart whispers before it screams." Listening early changes outcomes. That wisdom is especially important after 60, when symptoms can present subtly and progress quietly. It's also important to notice changes in mental clarity or dizziness, especially when standing. These can reflect blood pressure fluctuations or reduced blood flow to the brain. While occasional lightheadedness can happen, repeated episodes should never be brushed aside. Seeking medical guidance does not mean something is wrong. It means you're being proactive. Simple evaluations, such as blood pressure monitoring, heart rhythm checks, or sleep assessments, can uncover issues early when they're most manageable. Many people are relieved to learn that small adjustments make a significant difference. Equally important is trusting your instincts. You know your body better than anyone. If something feels different, persistent, or concerning, it deserves attention. Early action preserves quality of life, independence, and peace of mind. Heart health is not about fear, it's about partnership. When you combine supportive habits with timely professional guidance, you create a powerful safety net that allows your heart to function with confidence. In the final section, we'll focus on how to protect your independence long-term and maintain heart strength well into the years ahead, without overwhelm or rigid routines. Long-term heart health is not built through dramatic changes or extreme discipline. It's built through rhythm, trust, and consistency, small actions repeated until they become part of who you are. The most powerful protection you can give your heart is not intensity, but stability. As you age, your body becomes less forgiving of chaos and more responsive to predictability. When your days follow a gentle rhythm, consistent sleep times, calm evenings, steady nourishment, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to adapt. It learns when to slow down, when to recover, and when to deliver energy efficiently. One of the most overlooked aspects of heart longevity is confidence in movement. When people begin to fear overexertion, they often move less. That reduction quietly weakens circulation, balance, and stamina. But safe, daily movement, even light walking or stretching, reminds the heart how to respond without stress. Movement tells the body, "I'm still capable." Equally important is emotional safety. Chronic worry, loneliness, or unresolved stress places a measurable load on the cardiovascular system. Studies consistently show that emotional connection and a sense of purpose reduce heart-related risk. This doesn't require large social circles, just meaningful moments of connection, whether through conversation, routine, or service. A respected physician and author, Dr. Atul Gawande, once wrote, "Our ultimate goal, after all, is not a good death but a good life to the very end." That perspective matters deeply here. Heart health is not just about avoiding illness, it's about preserving the freedom to live on your terms. Consistency remains the foundation. A calming evening routine, gentle movement during the day, thoughtful eating, adequate rest. These practices reinforce one another and create a system your heart can rely on. Over time, they reduce strain, stabilize rhythm, and restore confidence in your body's ability to support you. You may notice changes gradually, waking with more clarity, walking with greater ease, feeling steadier throughout the day. These are signs of resilience returning. They signal that your heart is no longer working against the current, it's moving with it. Independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means having the strength and stability to live life without constant worry. When you care for your heart in these simple, consistent ways, you give yourself the gift of security, comfort, and peace of mind. And that is something worth protecting at every stage of life. Now, we want to hear from you. Which part of your daily routine has become more difficult lately? Falling asleep peacefully, staying active without fatigue, or managing stress before bedtime? If you're over 60, when did you first notice that your heart or energy levels didn't feel the same as they used to? Was it during daily walks, climbing stairs, or waking up feeling unrest? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.